Hi.
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 Hi. I'm Rexy Pukinikin.
I'm Rexy Pukinikin.
I'm Rexy Pukinikin. And we're balling. And we're balling.
And we're balling.
Today. Tomorrow.
And maybe yesterday.
At what cost?
At what cost?
At what cost? Woo!
Welcome, guys, to another episode of Ballin at What Cost. Another week went by. Another week. Another beautiful, beautiful games. Thanksgiving went by, which was kind of nice because the NFL Thanksgiving goes hand in hand. They go together. So that was wonderful. And yes, I did have a wonderful Thanksgiving feast. Yeah, I mean, the stomach was going through it, but, got through it, though. Got through the whole thing, the process. I think sports-wise, it's been like, honestly, this week has been, the past week at least, it's been a little bit like I'm just waiting for this upcoming weekend a little bit more. So it's just a little bit more build-up. But anyways, that doesn't stop us from getting into it, diving deep into some sports, some analysis, some, let's just see, a little recap. So Thanksgiving happened. We had some baller games. And one of those games that we got treated with that provided us with a lot of entertainment was the Thanksgiving game between Buffalo Bills versus the Detroit Lions. And it was a wonderful game to watch. Me and the boys were doing a little bit of a squad ride, touchdown score, and amazingly, all four of the touchdown scores we thought were going to score that game, they didn't. They didn't make the touchdown, so we were actually like jumping out of our seats in excitement. It was just really edge of our seats. I mean, almost a little too much where we were just focused on the bet much more than the score of the game. But, I mean, evidently the game was still pretty freaking fire. Really went down to the wire. Just went down to the wire, and the Bills clutched it out, and we got a bit of a moment where Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen just hug it out. Like, thank God we did not just almost lose to the Lions, and I'm going to say this, and I think this has been the overall theme for the Lions, but they've been just like ridiculously unlucky for the last like 2 seasons. If that luck has anything to do with Dan Campbell's red nose, I don't know. Maybe it's like some gypsy curse or something. I don't know. It's a little bit weird. But Detroit kind of just seem like they keep on losing matches because they get ridiculously unlucky. Because I want to say this too, because I just genuinely, I don't think Detroit Lions, I don't think they've been as bad as everybody or their record like says they are. A lot of the games that they lost, they could have won. And I'm not just talking this season either. I'm talking about the previous season too. And it's just like, well, yeah, okay, you can use that as an excuse, but they're kind of just not up to par yet. But you can see if they challenged the Bills, and almost beat the Bills, they're doing better. We also had a game. This was the later game, I think, the last game of the Thanksgiving evening, which was the Patriots versus the Vikings. And I think I did mention it. I did call out that the Patriots would clutch this one and upset the Vikings. I was wrong. And that's just because the one guy you had to freaking watch out for, you guys couldn't stop this guy because he is pretty unstoppable. And Justin Jefferson, another just record-breaking performance, putting up some crazy stats: 9 catches, 139 yards, and 1 touchdown. And I saw a stat that he passes Randy Moss for most receiving yards in first 3 seasons. And everybody knows Randy Moss is one of the greatest to ever do it in that wide receiver position. And it just shows that how ridiculous Justin Jefferson is. And he is the X factor of the Vikings' success. If you can somehow find a way, and I'm not saying it's easy to find a way, but if you can somehow find a way to just stop Justin Jefferson, then he's going to do. Then Vikings will more than likely, not be as difficult to beat. But when Justin Jefferson cannot be stopped, it is pretty much a guaranteed loss. So, as much as the Patriots did try, you got to stop the main man. And you guys tried but didn't. But, if just seeing, I'm not going to lie, I missed out on this game, like, full on. But, come on, what do you expect? The game started at, 3 a.m., and I was 3 freaking plates of Thanksgiving dinner plates deep, plus the dessert, plus the extra late night turkey. Dude, I was feeling some type of way. But, I had to obviously call it a night. There was no way I was going to stay up for that one. But yeah, but seeing the Patriots put up 26 points against Vikings, and the Vikings defense are not tragic, right? But the fact that Patriots can do that means the offense is finally making some improvements. And, because before with Mac Jones or Zappy, 26 points against a decent defense was pretty difficult, but now they're putting those up. So positives that you can gain from this. But anyways, right, last week when I talked about how Zach Wilson had caught some fire from the media, and for not necessarily owning up to his or holding himself accountable. Quite literally, right after I stopped recording the episode, I checked my phone and my social media, and instantly they say Zach Wilson is not starting quarterback for the game against the... Oh, sorry, guys. I got a little hiccup. I don't know. It came out of nowhere. But, so the game against the Bears, Robert Saleh pulled Zach Wilson out and then put Mike White in as the starting quarterback. And guess what? Mike White is him. He steps the fuck up and delivers a freaking outstanding performance. I gotta tell you, fucking outstanding, okay? 22 completed passes and 28 attempts. So only 6 of the attempts did not actually get completed, which is absolutely insane. 315 yards and 3 touchdowns. And they beat the Bears, what was it again? 31-10. So this is a dangerous one. This is a dangerous one because it literally might be showing that Zach Wilson is the problem. And Jets don't even have big, huge, fundamental problems, right? I think Jets, being 7-4 right now, it's just the few games that they lost were the games where Zach Wilson, like I said, was playing like a drunk Patrick Mahomes, kind of just throwing interceptions like out of nowhere, and what was just making mistakes that were, at least from a viewership standpoint, easy, like small, like mistakes that he could have avoided. So, and then you get Mike White starting, and he pops off like this. It kind of just shows the head coaches, the staff, that like, this is what we could be doing if Zach Wilson doesn't play. So I don't know. It's a little bit weird. Of course, they're not playing against the strongest team, which is the Chicago Bears. But still very, very good numbers. And, you could make the argument now that Jets, especially in the playoff picture, they're kind of like the last one right now from the AFC. So, like, right inside, like, there's the teams that are on the bubble, and Jets have squeezed themselves into the playoff picture now. So you're kind of in a tight spot. You kind of really, as the Jets staff, you really got to think this one through. Got to think, is it risky putting Zach Wilson back, or is it risky keeping Mike White on? A lot of decisions are going to have to be made in the Jets. And I think either way, the Jets are balling out pretty legitimately, and just got to see how the rest of the, AFC kind of plays out. And maybe it works in their favor, maybe not. But as of right now, fuck it. Just keep Mike White on, That's what I'm saying. You just keep on, add maybe some incentive bonuses in the contract real quick, and then bada bing, bada boom. You know what I'm saying? So, good on the Jets. And great that, it wasn't one of those like, oh, yeah, like, media caused us to make a move real quick and then bites them in the ass. It was like, no, they were like, okay, well, let's just give Mike White a try because he might legitimately do better. He did. So let's see. But I wouldn't mind Mike White. No hate to Zach Wilson, but great to see someone like that just completely step up and shine in the limelights. Next one, and this is I posted a quick I actually posted a YouTube clip of it, or a short clip of it from last episode, but your boy was right. Jacksonville Jaguars upset the Baltimore Ravens, and I was correct in saying Trevor Lawrence and his team were going to pop off a little bit. Okay, yes, you can argue with me. The score at the end of the day wasn't like super, super high, so it wasn't like they were balling. But I'd still say they were balling. Like the first half was a bit slow, and then because it was so slow, everyone just assumed that as soon as the Ravens got a bit of a lead, it was kind of like game over for the Jags. They couldn't catch up anymore. The Ravens defense were gonna swallow the Jaguars offense up. But no, it's like at that moment, everybody started balling out, because it was like, I think it was like 10-17 going into fourth quarter, and then Trevor Lawrence scores a touchdown, or Jaguars score a touchdown, and then kind of goes back and forth in the fourth quarter, which was awesome. I was watching the whole game, because I had I was not lying. I had a feeling deep inside my testicles that Jaguars are going to pull off this win. And, you get the last 5 minutes of the fourth quarter were just like absolutely freaking nuts. Like, I was on the edge of my seat. Trevor Lawrence did literally pop off, though. Just to read off the stats real quick. Okay, well, this is fucking wrong. Okay, well, I don't know. All I know is he had 38 completed passes. I don't know how many attempts he took, but I think I wrote this wrong because it has 36 attempts, so like it doesn't equate. 311 yards and then 3 touchdowns. Just absolutely craziness. And to pull off the win they did and the clutch they did, like the play call from the Jaguars head coach to like, yo, let's go for the 2-point conversion when they were down by 1 point. Yeah, it was 26. Yeah, it was 26-27. Ravens lead by 1. And then, or it was actually 20-27, right? And then Jacksonville score a touchdown. Marvin Jones scores this ridiculous toe tapper on the right-hand side of the touchdown zone. They get up to 26. They're down by 1, and then the play call comes in. It's 2-point conversion to take the lead. Just risk it all for the win. And play call happens, and then Trevor Lawrence, dishes it out on a route real quick to Zay Jones. Zay Jones gets the 2-point conversion. Jaguars lead by 1. Ravens still have like 15 seconds or something like that of play clock to try something. Lamar Jackson Jr. tries his best. Justin Tucker kicks it from 67 yards, or attempts to kick it from 67 yards. Kicks it. Freaking the ball is straight down the middle. Looks like it's literally gonna go in, and bam, it falls like 2-3 yards short of the field goal, and Jaguars pull off the win. I don't know what else to say. I mean, Jesus Christ, that was a fun game to watch. That was super fun. Tucker didn't have the distance, but I'm not gonna give it too much. Like you have to be ridiculously insane and ridiculous Hall of Fame caliber of kicker to just like out of nowhere pull off like a 67, okay, whatever, plus 60-yard field goal. But the fact that Trevor Lawrence just balled out, I mean, he was balling out. And this is what I'm saying. It's just like, first of all, I never said Trevor Lawrence was crap. I never did, because I knew he just, he didn't have all the weapons. But then I knew they had, like, Jaguars had something. I knew they had something. I was never like Jaguars are completely dog shit. Like opposite to like the way I talk about Colts or the way I talk about Texans or some shit like that. Like, I know Jaguars have weapons. So I was just kind of waiting on it. And, the Ravens have, I feel like, much more holes in their game than before. So I was just like, okay, well, Trevor Lawrence is going to pull this off. No problem. And they didn't. And, go check out my YouTube short. I might literally just put it in this podcast episode. I don't know, whatever. Play it real quick. I can play it now. Next up, and I don't have no basis for this one. I don't even want to get into it, but I have this feeling deep inside my heart, deep inside my head, deep inside my stomach, deep inside my balls, that Jaguars are going to upset the Ravens. And Trevor Lawrence just kind of pops off a little bit with his team. That's the feeling I have. I'm not going to say more. Jaguars beat the Ravens going into Week 12.
20 seconds to go.
Lawrence throwing to the end zone. Marvin Jones. They call it a touchdown. Jaguars going for two. Lawrence in the shotgun. Looking left. Throws left. And it's caught! Zay Jones! Tucker. Kick on the way. On line. Does it have the distance? No! And the Jaguars win!
Yeah. But yeah, it was just what a game. What a game. I was super hyped watching that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go through some just scores just real briefly. Chargers clutch against the Cardinals 25-24. Cardinals do not look good. Cardinals is pretty much Kyler Murray trying something to DeAndre Hopkins, or now Marquise Brown is back. So it's kind of just like Cardinals are trying, and then Cardinals defense is like not helping at all. And I mean, good for Chargers, but then again, if Chargers were a little bit better, they'd be blowing out the Cardinals like 45-24 instead of 25-24. You know what I'm saying? Like, Chargers still have a lot of locked potential. And Sean Payton, you know, for next year, if he's a free agent, like for the head coach job, Chargers, please get Sean Payton, because that would be great. It would work wonders for Justin Herbert. Raiders clutch against my Seahawks 40-34. It was a great game to watch until the last moment of the game, pretty much, where Josh Jacobs runs it through the middle and there is a hole and there's no one to stop him. And actually, Raiders are making a bit of a comeback now. Like, not in any way, but they were not so good. And now you're kind of like, is there something to this? And who knows? Because Josh Jacob has had moments of, moments of really great success, and then so has Devontae Adams. And now it's just like, okay, please, Carr, or if the defense could just help out a little bit, then the Raiders could actually, they could look much, much better and much, much stronger going into matchups in the future. Eagles versus Packers, 40-33. At least that call out was a little bit wrong. I said either Packers upset the Eagles or the Rams upset the 49ers. Rams upset the Chiefs. I was wrong on both of those. Chiefs ended up winning. Packers ended up winning. Eagles ended up winning. But what we got was a wonderful back and forth game between the Eagles and the Packers. So, I'm not going to talk too much about it. Great game. Go watch it if you guys want to. And just real quick, don't diss my boy Russ Wilson too much, because matchups to watch going into week 13, Broncos versus Ravens. I am putting it there. Broncos are going to beat the Ravens. The sports media this year has been way too disrespectful towards Russell Wilson. I watched the game, the Broncos versus God damn it, man. Broncos versus Panthers. I watched the game. Do you guys think Russell Wilson wants to run the ball all the time? No. He's not making those calls. So, and then every time I see Russell Wilson dish it out, he's trying to make a play, an actual play that matters. And then he just has his freaking offensive coaches and his head coaches and all those freaking other coaches just telling him, yeah, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. So what I'm seeing in this Ravens matchup is Russell Wilson finally is like, okay, I don't deserve this kind of slander given the fact that literally on my off time from practicing, I am visiting children's hospitals and cancer patients to trying to help them have a better week. And then the media still shits on me because I can't because I don't even have the choice of throwing a football. Instead, I got to give it to my running back and get nothing done with it. So, stop cooking my boy Russ. And then he's going to see Lamar Jackson Jr. and pretty much say, yo, listen here, you running fucker. I was doing this shit and won a Super Bowl with it. So go fuck yourself. And now I'm going to turn on the fucking burners and I'm going to run it a little bit and I'm going to start fucking heaving it down the field because that's what I'm good at. Like, yo, dude, stop with the sports media, with the Russell. Yo, talk about a little bit of, I know. At the end of the day, okay, we're talking about only the sports and only your performance on the field. Okay, fine. But it's just like, calm down, dude. Everybody needs to calm down, all right? And I've said this before, and I'll just say that again, okay? That's all I needed to do. But also, Broncos upset the Ravens going into Week 13. That's all I got to say as well. Jets versus Vikings. Competitive matchup going into Week 13. Fireworks. I predict fireworks because what we have here is Mike White, who's coming out hot. And I'm assuming that Mike White is going to be the freaking starting quarterback, right? I sure hope he is. And Jets, I'm telling you, they got more than a little something to work with. All right, 31 points on the Bears is a little something, even considering the Bears only scored 10. So Jets got more than something going, and Vikings got Justin Jefferson going. But what we have here is kind of one of those games where it's very 1v1. And we're talking about Justin Jefferson versus Sauce Gardner, okay? The cornerback. So if Sauce Gardner wins this matchup against Justin Jefferson, Jets win. If Justin Jefferson outplays Sauce Gardner, then the Vikings win. But either way, that is a great matchup to see. And I'd say those two teams play very similarly. I think the Jets defense a little bit different to the Vikings defense, but offensive-wise, I see a lot of similarities. So let's see how that one turns out. I think that one's going to be on Sunday. Early game slot, so I'm gonna be tuned the fuck in, and it's just gonna be an awesome game to watch. And both teams in the playoff picture as of right now. Next up, a matchup that's gonna be competitive as well, or we have two pretty equal level teams. We have the Commanders, Washington Commanders going up against the New York Giants. Just had to get a little coffee in my system. Record wise, they're very similar. So Giants are 7-4, and then Washington Commanders are 7-5. So Commanders taking one more L than the Giants have. And we have offensively, we have Commanders who I think Well, actually, no. Gibson's doing a little bit of damage right now. So, honestly, okay, I know Taylor Heineke likes to throw to Terry McLaurin, but I feel like Gibson's going to do a little damage, or the ball's going to be handed off a little bit more in this game. So I think it's actually going to be running versus running. This is quarterback matchup wise also very interesting. You know, Daniel Jones and Taylor Heineke, kind of two white quarterbacks that has had a fair share of criticism during their whole career, pretty much, or just doubters, I guess. And I guess Commanders' defense is in my opinion, a little bit better than the Giants' defense. But who knows? The Giants' defense could also surprise me a little bit. But either way, very interesting matchup, especially when both teams, as of right now, NFC-wise, Giants are number 6th in getting into the playoffs, and Washington Commanders are number 7. So depending on who wins or who loses, those positions might switch up a little bit. And I'm sorry if I was gone from the camera for a while there. I don't know. I was just looking at my freaking screen right here. Anyways, just kind of like a matchup that you really want to see where each team is at. Again, kind of like 3/4 into the regular season and kind of check up and just see like who has a little bit more potential too. Does Commanders have that potential to stay in to make the playoffs, and how are they going to do the playoffs? Same thing with Giants. Do they have what it takes to make it to the playoffs? And if they do, how well are they going to do in the playoffs? So that's kind of like the or questions I'm posing, and I will find out the answers on Sunday. Ooh, that's early game too. Ooh, I like that a lot. Anyways, last little thing I'll say from the NFL. This is another matchup just going into week 13. Chargers versus Raiders. The LA Chargers versus the Las Vegas Raiders. I have a feeling about this one that Raiders might upset. And I briefly mentioned this before, but what we have here is, unfortunately, the Raiders' defense are not too good. So this is where my take is going to screw me over if it does. So what we all know, Chargers have offensive weapons, right? It's more about how well they're able to execute oftentimes. So, you know, Justin Herbert, Keenan Allen, and freaking Mike Williams, right? If they're on top of their A game, they can do a lot of damage. But like I said, with the Raiders offense, I feel like right now there's this like trio, like offensive Raiders offensive trio that can do a lot of damage if they play if the offensive coach and the head coach play their cards right. Josh Jacobs, Davante Adams, Derek Carr. If those three can work in perfect unison against a team that's very strong like the Chargers, then I don't see why not. They could pull off the upset. I don't think it would be the biggest upset of all time. Raiders are 4-7. Chargers are 6-5. Chargers obviously have a slight holes in their game that could be exploited, but it kind of depends on what version of the Chargers we get that night and what version of the Raiders we get that night. But I kind of have this feeling right now that just the Raiders are picking up a little bit of pace, and Davante Adams mixed up with the running back of Josh Jacobs, they can do a lot of damage. So that's all I have to say for the NFL Week 13 week that is coming up, and the Week 12 that just happened. But anyways, super good vibes coming out of NFL. Just, I love it. I freaking love it. And just the fact that we still have a good amount of regular season to go until the playoff, and the playoff takes a while too, and then the Super Bowl is just, ooh, I'm gonna enjoy my December, I'm gonna enjoy my January with the playoffs, and then I'm gonna enjoy February when it comes to Super Bowl. Okay, so just, I am really fully indulged into the NFL world right now. All right. I have nothing for F1, nothing at all. There has been news, might as well mention it. Mattia Binotto, F1 team principal for Scuderia Ferrari, has been, I guess, forced to resign. I don't know, fired, but like they put it in such a PR way that it's just like, yeah, no, he chose to leave. I don't know, whatever. He was fired. Yeah, well, that's what happens when you don't win and you are the biggest team in F1. I don't want to blame anyone, and a lot of people assume that it is blame, or it is like the heads of Ferrari are blaming Mattia Binotto. It's not. Even in other sports, I feel like if someone's let go, it's just you haven't done. We have a contract for how you were gonna perform, and you didn't perform. So now we're gonna let you go and explore other options. It's not as, it really isn't like, hey, you're fired for doing a fucking shit job. Go fuck yourself, And just interested to see who Ferrari recruit, and they're going to have to pull off something amazing. I mean, they got to get some guy who really fully grasps the talent that they have right now in Leclerc and Sainz. And only then, when you find a team principal that grasps that idea, are you going to be able to win with a Ferrari, okay? So, that's all at least the big news. I miss F1. I'm going to miss F1, and I feel like just talking about the season real quick on my last episode doesn't do justice. So, I'm thinking of possibly doing like Silverstone race rewatch of the past season, because I personally think the Silverstone Grand Prix was the best race of the season. So I'm thinking about rewatching it and streaming it, and I'll let you guys know, if I decide on a time, and I think I will try my best to do a little bit of promo for it, so that it's not just randomly, hey, I feel like watching it now, or I have time to watch it, so I'm just turning on the stream. It's like I want to plan it out a little bit more so that there could actually be a proper audience watching it. But that's all I have for Formula One. Next up, this is what I was excited for, that I couldn't fully get into last week, but now I can, because it is fight week, and it is fight night on Saturday, or Sunday morning for me, but Saturday night in Florida. Oh, this coffee is doing wonders. This coffee is doing wonders for sure. Okay, fight night in Florida, and I really, really enjoy these fight nights in smaller venues. I know they're smaller venues, obviously, compared to MSG, or if they're in Las Vegas, or at least not in the Apex Center. I'm talking about like if they do like a numbered event in Las Vegas. But I really like these because you're just doing a favor for all the MMA lovers, local MMA lovers. So they're in Orlando, so a bunch of people in Orlando or Florida are just going to be able to watch this. And UFC is so big now that it's guaranteed sold out venue pretty much. And, they always try to put in a bit of a local fight or something, a local fighter, to be able to, kind of get the home crowd as well. But I'm going to just get into the fights that I'm going to be trying to watch. This is the main event, dude. The prelims start at 2 a.m. on Saturday. And the freaking main event starts at 5. If I know I'm going to have a fully booked out weekend, early mornings, both Saturday and Sunday. So I think if I have to, I'm just going to have to go to sleep early Saturday night, wake up real early for Sunday and watch. I really don't want to miss at least the main card, It's usually, if they're late night fights, I am okay with missing out the early prelims or prelims. Of course, this is just a fight night, so there's only prelims before the main card. But, yeah, I'll try. But, yes, get into it. There's one matchup that I personally am going to be tuned into if I can. In the prelims, and that is Clay Guida. Clay Guida is fighting this young gun called Scott Holtzman. And Clay Guida is a certified legend, and he's already been partly inducted into the UFC Hall of Fame. I mean, first UFC fight in 2006. I mean, just try and get your head around that one. He's been fighting in the UFC for 16 years now, which is just absurd. 16 years. 40 years old today, and or not today. As of today, 40 years old, 7 knockouts and 14 submissions. And I don't know, it doesn't seem that much that he's slowing down too much. He's very rarely lost more than 2 matches in a row. He's kind of, I think after halfway through 2020, I think he never lost 2 fights in a row. He always bounced back, and he just has a wild style, long hair. His long wavy hair is just a bit of a his look. That is very unique to him, or one of the first ones to rock long, curly hair. But he goes against a guy called Scott Holtzman. I don't know much about Scott Holtzman. Clay Guida isn't much of an underdog either. He is the underdog, but not by much. And he has a 1-inch reach advantage, so we'll just see. But either way, I had to mention it because just the fact that someone who started in the UFC in 2006, never mind starting MMA, he started in UFC in 2006. It's just nuts, and you gotta give that props out there. And if I can drag my ass out of bed, I will be tuning into that fight. But that was pretty much the only one that I really am gonna have a close look at from the prelims. Going into the main card, there are 6 fights in the main card, but only the third fight of the main card is when I get a little bit excited. We have Bam Bam Tuivasa versus Sergey Pavlovich. And it's a heavyweight fight. It's Bam Bam Tuivasa is currently number 4th in the heavyweight division, and Sergey Pavlovich is ranked number 5. So, at least ranking wise, as close as it can get. And honestly, both one of those brawler type guys. Sergey Pavlovich, just because he is Russian and has a bit of a wrestling background, or I don't know specifically how deep of a wrestling background he is, but I know he does have a wrestling background. That might cause some problems for Bam Bam, but what I've realized also is Tai Tuivasa, Bam Bam, Bam Bam Tuivasa, Tai Bam Tuivasa Bam. He has incredible balance for his body shape, right? And just, for being a heavyweight. He has incredible balance. He knows how to defend grappling really well. It's not his first rodeo getting matched up against a grappler. So, but either way, that said, Sergey Pavlovich might come in and wants to just bang, wants to bang hands, wants to swing. And we all know that if the opponent of Tai Tuivasa does that, then Tai Tuivasa responds. So I'm expecting big fireworks because these boys are big boys. But yeah, I am a big Tai Tuivasa fan. I think that guy is what you want. Just a chill Kiwi. He is a Kiwi, right? I always, it's a little bit with the, no, he isn't. He's Australian. Damn it. It's just so weird. Australia and New Zealand, usually, I'm very familiar with Kiwis and Australian people. But it's something with the UFC. I just never can, separate the New Zealand and the freaking Australians. But anyways, ignoring all that, I'm a huge fan of Tai Tuivasa. I think he's almost getting done a little bit dirty in the heavyweight division, just because he's kind of only lost to like Cyril Gane. That was like the top guy he's lost to. But I get it, because Cyril Gane is also in this awkward position where Francis Ngannou beat you and Stipe Miocic is somewhere on the sideline, and now John Jones is getting in the mix. So, okay, yes, heavyweight division is a little bit of a mess right now, whatever. But it's just, I expect fireworks. Tai Tuivasa has 14 knockout wins and 12 first-round finishes. This guy does not fuck around. He either wants the opponent to be out of this world, or he just wants to bang it out and freaking just get out of there as soon as possible, because it's not like he has the crazy tank for it either, okay? So that's going to be my matchup that I'm going to be watching first fight of the main card that I'm going to be watching real closely. Or like, if I can't wake up for any of the other fights, this is the first fight I'm going to watch that morning, Sunday morning. Next up, and this is the co-main event, a welterweight bout between Brian Barberena versus Rafael Dos Anjos. And I'm only mentioning this because RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos, he is, in my opinion, just one of those fighters that can stick around for a long time. Like, his whole career has kind of been more just not necessarily, he had the belt on one time, yes, but it's more about how long you can stay there and how much you can improve. Because one of the most difficult things about UFC, I think, is just being able to constantly adapt, fighting style wise, to be able to. That's why, like, champions, they don't stay for so long, because eventually one guy is just gonna, like, their game plan is always just gonna be your game plan. So they kind of take over and you fall from your reign. But RDA is one of those guys where you can just, throughout his whole career, you can never count him out. And this guy's a vet at this point. Well, he's been a vet. He had his first UFC fight in 2008. And he's currently, how old is he right now? I think he's 38 years old. And he has so much experience. And at this point, I think his gas tank has just gone more and more impressive, just because he's been in the sport for so long, that it is just genuinely probably the worst matchup possible for Bryan Barberena, because Bryan Barberena is more of a newbie to the sport, and I'm not saying he's not impressive, because he did beat up Lawler pretty bad, and coming into this fight, he's on a 3-win streak. But you're going against Rafael dos Anjos. This is like, I might be a little bit. Well, Barberena's been around for a little bit too. Damn, he's been around since 2014. Okay, but anyways, it's just you can see that there's a clear gap of experience-wise. I mean, it's very difficult to have the amount of experience Rafael dos Anjos has, but I just think, over here, it's, I'm getting the stats too, or the odds. I mean, huge underdog, Bryan Barberena coming into this fight. Like, everyone is pretty much expecting Rafael dos Anjos RDA to run through Bryan Barberena. So who knows? Barberena is naturally welterweight, though. Rafael dos Anjos usually fights in the lightweight division, I think. So he's moving up a weight division to fight this one. But I think truthfully, even though Barberena has the reach advantage and the height advantage, and off of a 3-win streak, it's Rafael dos Anjos, because RDA is a killer. He's a freaking killer. And 38 is not too old at all for the man. So, I'm seeing how much Bryan Barberena is going to get outclassed by Rafael dos Anjos. That's more what I'm tuning in for. Anyways, after the co-main event is the main event, and this is another welterweight division fight, but it's between two big names. We have Wonder Boy versus Trailblazer, Stephen Thompson versus Kevin Holland. This is stylistically a very, very interesting matchup, and it could get very, very hairy for either gentleman. What we have is Kevin Holland is ridiculously dangerous, brawler. Like, if Kevin Holland wants to, he can just keep the pressure up, tries to swing shots to try to end you. But what we have with Stephen Thompson is he's a master of keeping distance with his unorthodox karate style of bouncing around on the toes and hands like down on the waist. One of the only fighters in UFC currently that is very heavily karate background. But see, that's the thing. Kevin Holland is very dangerous. At least if we're talking about like how aggressive, there is a clear difference in who's more aggressive. Kevin Holland's clearly usually fight style wise much more aggressive than Wonderboy is, but Wonderboy is active inside the octagon. He keeps his distance and he mixes it up with a lot of kicks, and that makes Wonderboy so dangerous too. Like Stephen Thompson has these kicks that can just completely just catch you off guard, and they're coming out all different angles, and the combos Stephen Thompson has are very impressive. If Kevin Holland does decide to grapple, because Kevin Holland does has a clear strength advantage compared to Stephen Thompson, then I think if Kevin Holland decides to grapple, that's the only situation where I can see Stephen Thompson getting kind of swallowed up. But I don't imagine Kevin Holland because Kevin Holland is really put on a show type of fighter. So if he understands that instead of grappling with Stephen Thompson and trying to outstrike him, that's gonna put on a better show, then I think Kevin Holland's gonna do that. So it's gonna be very, very interesting. Like, I can't stress the stylistic part enough. Like, stylistically, mixed martial art wise, it is a very, very unique matchup that I am looking forward for a lot. But that's it for the UFC. This is Saturday night, and I'm excited. And it's weird that like a UFC fight night gets me this excited, but this genuinely, my attitude towards this would be like the same as a numbered event. You know, the only difference is there's just no championship fight. That's it. But either way, just super excited. Jumping into the NBA real quick. I don't know, real quick. I could talk quite a lot about the NBA now, but I'm gonna go into the stuff that's what I like about the NBA. I feel like the NBA is so big and there's so many games that I can talk a little bit more generally. And for example, like I like the fact that in NBA it's a lot, like it's a sport where one player can make a big difference, and then you can kind of pick your players that you want to like. You know, for me, of course I have my teams that I support more than others, but especially with the NBA, I can't really be like, okay, well, this is my ride or die team, because it's a little bit different than, say, NFL or something like that. But, okay, whatever. What I'm trying to say with that is, then I can just concentrate on player performances, and that's what I can talk about a little bit more. And then, like, just generally then, if that player is doing well and I like that player, then how their team is doing, because obviously I want to see their team do well if they're doing well too. So to start that off, we have the Dallas Mavericks and we have Luka Doncic. We are getting to a weird position where the rumors, or not rumors, but just it's getting brought up by the media a little bit more of, like, for reals, what the hell is going on with the Mavericks and Doncic? Because everybody knows that Luka Doncic could be one of the all-time greats. And currently, he's playing in a team that doesn't seem like they're putting all their eggs into one basket to try to create some kind of championship caliber team when you already have a championship caliber player. For example, I saw this stat yesterday, and I had to put it down. The Dallas Mavericks have not won a game this season when Luka Doncic scores less than 30 points. So it is a lot of, okay, Luka needs to perform tonight, and only if he performs we can kind of get by and possibly pull off the win. And this stat only says that they don't win a game if he scores less than 30. But then think about like all the games that he's trying his best with like assists or rebounds or something like that, and he drops like a 20 something. But it's just like his team isn't helping him, and they could have probably still pulled off a fucking win, but they just don't, And it's weird. It's just weird right now in the Mavericks. I know Porzingis is there, but they're not even fully unlocking Porzingis' abilities. I don't think, like, if you really think about it, they should be focusing very heavily on a duo between Luka Doncic and Porzingis, but that's not happening right now. I don't know why, and you could see why, Luka and the Mavericks are getting asked a little bit more about, what are you guys going to do and how is it going to go on from here? But Luka Doncic, I mean, he's still doing his thing. That's the craziest part. He is doing everything in his power to beat every single team that they go up against. He just dropped a 41 piece on the Warriors for the dub. I mean, he really does some freaking magical stuff, and I knew since his rookie season, ever since he got into the league, I was like, no, this guy is genuinely gonna be one of the greats, because it just how the career he's had before even coming into the NBA was already on some borderline GOAT shit, and then he comes to the NBA and it's like he perfectly adapted to it. I just think you're not gonna get anyone like that ever. And I mean, I guess the Mavericks are trying. Rumors of Kemba Walker joining the roster, or the deal is getting close to being done. Which is also okay, yeah, Kemba Walker is a great player. I want to see Kemba Walker play again. But it's just now you have two ISO players who just want to do their own thing and score by themselves, or that's how the team, or that's how it plays better when they want to do their own stuff. So it's just don't really know how that's going to help, or would like to see how it's going to, turn out. So anyways, that's the situation in Dallas right now. And talking about the Warriors, even though they took an L to the Mavericks, Klay Thompson was, I guess, one of the reasons why, or a lot of people at least media put a lot of blame of the Warriors' slow start towards Klay Thompson. And, now he's finally at the 40% three-point percentage. He's finally shooting 40%, which, statistically means for every 10 threes he attempts, he makes 4 of them. And Steph Curry, his career three-point percentage is I don't even know if it's 45. Is it 43 or something like that? It might be. I don't know. Maybe it's something insane 46. But, to have a three-point percentage and being a three-point shooter and having it 40 or above percentage is already very, very impressive. But the fact that Klay Thompson is arguably one of the best 3-point shooters of our time, or if not all time. The fact that he was below 40% was very lackluster, and was not up to par with how well he could actually perform. But the fact that now it's at 40%, and here's a little fact, he increased his 3-point percentage by 7% in the last week of games, which is absolutely freaking nuts. Because you have to make a shit ton of threes and shooting that much better percentage to be able to raise it 7% in 5 games. So I want to say that Klay Thompson is back. I think it's still going to take a little bit before he gets like 110%, kind of like just absolutely fired up and just going crazy again. But I know now that he's back in that sense. He really is. And you can see the Warriors are trying. They're really trying their best to turn stuff around, and I am sure that they will, because it is the Warriors at the end of the day. Okay, it's a little different to the Rams. Okay, some California teams can clutch up when they're gold and blue, but some Californian teams that are gold and blue can't clutch up. You know what I'm saying? Next up, a little bit of news from the East. Blake Griffin is back. I hope you guys didn't forget about Blake Griffin, because I certainly did not. I know all about Blake Griffin. And Blake Griffin, one of the players that got me into basketball to begin with, and one of my favorite NBA players of all time, because this guy, first of all, looks unique as fuck. He's like a ginger, light skin man. It's really weird. Like, he's black, but not really, and then he's ginger on top of it, which is so weird. And then the fact that he loves comedy. I've seen him do comedy. I don't know if he's ever done a comedy special, but I would hella listen to that. And the way he plays basketball is just, I mean, Jesus. But classic Blake Griffin. He's in Celtics now, Boston Celtics, and I think he just had his first game back, or at least first game this season. And just got straight into a one-handed alley-oop to get the Boston crowd fired up. And it's just great to see him still pretty much perform. I mean, you guys have to remember he won Rookie of the Year. Yes, I know Clippers, Lob City, when it came to postseason, they never reached their potential. But dude, Blake Griffin, I don't think, he's never really had, like, even in the Nets, he did a little something, He's always done a little something. And he's doing a little something now in the Celtics, and that's great to see. I'm talking about the Celtics. There's this one guy called Luke Cornett in the Celtics that has a very, very unique way of defending the basketball. He decides to just jump in the air, even if he is right below the basket, and there's a person wide open shooting a 3. He does this technique where he jumps up anyways when the player takes a shot. Oh, sorry. Ooh, this darkness is whoa, even with this cup of coffee. But yeah, Luke Cornett jumps into the air and like kind of does like, kind of just what he does is he blocks the view of the rim when the player lets go of a three-pointer. And that's kind of freaking genius, because when you shoot a three-pointer, usually most of the players look at the rim before they shoot the ball. So if you can block the view, and I mean, it is pretty distracting too. It's like, dude, you're getting paid money to defend and play basketball, and now you're just kind of jumping around at nothing. But it works. It works. There's more than one video evidence of showing that this kind of works against three-point shooters. And yeah, why not try it? If you're already missed out on, like, 1v1, like isolating this guy, and he has a wide open three, and a 3-point is, quite a lot of points, just try something. And he tries something and it works. So that's freaking awesome. Innovative. So that's what's going on with the Celtics, the boys in green. Brooklyn Nets, I think, swinging things around a little bit, currently on a 3-win streak. I hope I don't freaking jinx this, but surprisingly, Seth Curry, season breakout performance last night or the night before that, 7 out of 10 shots from the 3-point line, ended up with 29 points, and KD also balling out, still doing his thing. So I think it's surprisingly working kind of well right now with the Nets, and it's a little bit weird. And, as long as I don't hear the Ben Simmons name, I'm okay. See, I hear Curry doing well. I'm like, oh, yeah. I don't care what Curry, but just, oh, yeah, Curry's doing well. That's awesome. KD doing well. That's awesome. It's just like, as long as you don't mention Ben Simmons, and you just tell me that Brooklyn Nets won, 3 games in a row now, and Curry's balling out in Nets, but not the freaking Warriors. So I'm just like, all right, I'm sold. Brooklyn Nets doing really well. So I don't mind at all. That's kind of like the teams that I kind of keep an eye on and wanted to talk a little bit more in depth with. But if we're just talking about the Western Conference right now, wet like I'm book. Devin Booker, Chris Paul, and the Phoenix Suns are currently on a 6-win streak and number 1 seed in the West. They are finally going back to and I don't want to count out Suns either. And to be honest, Suns are, I think they've been the most consistent, at least with like the seeding wise and their record. I think Grizzlies and maybe Nuggets also, in the West, they've been pretty much as consistent. But if you're looking at, I think I wrote this down as a bullet point too. Yeah, Trailblazers, the Portland Trailblazers are 2-8 in their last 10 games. And I know I said 1 week, I forget which week, but I remember saying that the Trailblazers are actually number 1 seed. Yeah, they are currently 10th seed, which is pretty worrying, and on 3-game losing streak. So I think it's first of all impressive because now Suns have a little bit more consistency than say Trailblazers have, but we really can't say much about the Blazers either, Trailblazers, because maybe they're just having like kind of a bad streak right now. And talking about bad streak, last week I said San Antonio Spurs are on a 5-game win streak. Well, they didn't get rid of that losing streak. 9-game losing streak now for the Spurs. Popovich is not happy, and it's kind of sad to see arguably one of the best coaches ever to do it in NBA just completely struggle like crazy now. And hope they don't hit the 10-game losing streak mark, because geez, that's just not going to be nice. Eastern Conference, like I was saying, the Celtics are doing pretty well, dude. Celtics are doing well for themselves. Currently number 1 in the Eastern Conference. They're on a 5-game win streak, and in the last 10 games, they're 9-1. So really just putting in the work. They're compared to the West, where Suns are number 1 seed, Nuggets are number 2 seed, and there's only a 1-win difference between them. Boston Celtics are 3 wins clear of the Bucks, who are the 2nd seed in the East. So kind of crazy, but Celtics are on a bit of another level right now in the East. And I mean, I'm never going to freaking doubt Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Blake Griffin and Marcus Smart. They've been very legitimate team, for all of the years, and the fact that they went to the, finals last year, you definitely can't count them out compared to, Warriors, who are just struggling in the West after winning or making the finals and winning. So, yeah. And, I mean, not trying to kick someone down when they're already doing kind of bad, but Orlando Magic currently on a 6-game losing streak, 2-8 in their last 10 games, and second last in the freaking East. They're 5-17. It is a bit surprising because they drafted Pablo Banchero, and he's a big prospect, and they have Bol, who has a lot of hype behind him. I'm probably, this is just an internal kind of problem, bad coaching staff or whatever, or management, and they can't help themselves but suck right now. But I'm sure they will be turning it around at the very latest next season, because they do have some great potential there and some amazing players that could be real superstars. But that's all I have for this week's episode with the NBA, with the UFC, with a little bit of F1, and with the NFL. I might talk about the World Cup a little bit next episode. Who knows? I might talk about esports possibly, because there is certain esports that I care about a little bit that I do not, I don't mind mentioning at all, because I spend all that time watching all those videos and following it along anyway. So I might as well let it out of my system. But hope you guys have a wonderful week. And next week, hope you guys have a wonderful week. I'm going to be enjoying some fights this weekend. I'm going to be enjoying some NBA games and NFL games like usual. And I hope you guys do the same too. Stay safe, stay positive, and stay ballin'. I'm out.